All right, welcome to Be Explainer. Today we're diving into a new kind of AI that's taking on a huge problem for pretty much every law firm out there, the absolute chaotic mess of their own data. We're going to see how it plans to turn that mountain of files into a real strategic weapon. So let's get into it. Yeah, this quote pretty much says it all, right? It all kicks off with a problem that if you're in the legal world, you know this feeling. You're not just dealing with a few documents, you are literally drowning in this ocean of disconnected files and information. It's a massive, constant headache. But what if you didn't have to drown? What if, instead, you could actually control that ocean of data? So to really get the solution, you first have to appreciate just how big this problem is. We're calling it the legal data deluge because it's not just a lot of data, it's the insane variety of it, where every single format has its own quirks. I mean, just look at this list. It's not just the simple stuff like PDFs and Word docs. You got these massive email archives from e-discovery. You got audio files from depositions, spreadsheets, images. It is a complete logistical nightmare. And traditionally, there's no single piece of software that can handle all of this. So you're stuck patching together, 5 different systems. That's the problem this thing is designed to fix. Okay, so that's the mess. What's the answer? Well, it's something called a universal intelligence engine. We're moving from the problem to the solution now, a single system called DOCKET. And this right here, this is the core promise. It's one pipeline. All that chaos we just saw, over 150 different kinds of files, goes in one end, and what comes out the other is a single, clean, organized, AI-ready package of knowledge. That's it. Simple. So what makes this thing different? Well, it's really built around a few key ideas. First, security is everything. Your data never leaves your system. It's also smart. It actually understands legal concepts like privilege, and it's designed for compliance, so you can prove every step it took. These aren't just bullet points, they're basically the system's DNA. Now for the really fun part. How does this machine actually work? Let's pop the hood and see how it takes all that raw, messy data and turns it into something you can actually use. So here's the roadmap. It's a 6-step journey, starting with just getting the text out and ending with this complete knowledge base. We're not going to go through every single step, but let's zoom in on a couple of the most clever ones. Okay, stage 2, legal aware chunking. It sounds a bit technical, but the idea is brilliant. Most AI systems just chop out the document every 500 words or so. But think about it, that could split a crucial sentence right down the middle. This system is different. It reads the document like a person would. It understands that this is a contract clause and that's a new section. That context is absolutely everything for an AI to make sense of legal arguments. And it's not one size fits all. You actually get to choose how deep it goes. Think of it like gears on a car. If you just need a quick look at a mountain of documents, you put it in sonic mode. But if you're working on the most critical piece of research for an appeal, you crank it all the way up to deep. You match the tool to the task. The search function is also a total game changer. We all know keyword search, right? You type in a term, you find that exact term. But DOCKET uses something called vector search, which finds what you mean. So you could search for breach of contract, and it's smart enough to also find a document that talks all about a failure to meet obligations, even if the word breach is nowhere to be found. Huge. All right, this is where it goes from clever to genius. The system doesn't just read the words, it builds a knowledge graph. I want you to picture a detective's corkboard with photos and documents all connected by strings. That's what it's doing with your data. It starts with the basics, the stuff you'd expect. It goes through and finds every person, every company, every court, every date, all the fundamental pieces of the puzzle. This is like laying out all the clues on the table. But then it starts to think like a lawyer. It doesn't just see a name. It understands that name is the plaintiff. It recognizes case citations, specific contract clauses, even things like Bates numbers from a document production. This is where it proves it speaks the language of law. And here's the magic. It's not just about finding the clues. It's about connecting the strings between them. It knows that this case cites that other case, that this law firm represents that person, or that this new contract amends an old one. Suddenly, you don't have a pile of data anymore. You have a map of the entire legal universe you're working in. Of course, all this cool tech is completely worthless if it's not secure. For anyone in legal or compliance, that's a total non-starter. So let's talk about how this whole thing is basically built like a digital fortress. Look at that first line, that one that really matters. Zero cloud transfer. Your data is processed 100% locally on your own systems. It never ever goes to the cloud. Combine that with military grade encryption and an unchangeable audit trail, it means you are in complete control of your data, period. And for litigators, this is huge. The system is designed to understand one of your biggest risks, privilege. It can automatically flag documents that might contain attorney-client privilege, spot work product, and even help you start generating your privilege log. In e-discovery, that's not just a time saver, it's an absolute lifesaver that can prevent catastrophic mistakes. So we've talked about the problem, we've looked under the hood at the technology, but let's bring it home. What does this all mean for you day to day? What is the new superpower this gives your firm? This is the payoff right here. Instead of searching through folders for a week, you can just ask your entire case file a question in plain English. Like, show me every email where the CEO discussed project timelines, and you get an answer in seconds. Instead of having a team review 1,000 contracts, you can find and compare the liability clause in all of them instantly. You see, this isn't about doing old work faster. It's about doing completely new work that was impossible before. So let's just boil it all down. It all starts with this, the power to take in all the chaos, over 150 different kinds of files, and turn all of it into one single unified knowledge base, a single source of truth. And most importantly, it all happens securely on your own systems under your control. And really, this all leads to one final crucial question. AI isn't some far-off future thing anymore. It's here now. But any AI is only as good as the data you give it. Garbage in, garbage out. A system like this is all about getting your data ready, making it clean and smart. So the real question isn't about the technology. It's about your own firm. Is your legal intelligence truly ready for what's next?